There we are. Okay, it says we're live. All right. Hi, everybody. It's Steven here. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Infinity War with my friend Tarzan. Tarzan, you want to introduce yourself?
For those of you who don't know, I am Tarzan from Trial by Trivia and also a member of the Side Effect Podcast.
Yeah, one of my favorite podcasts out there. We do a lot of fun stuff.
Right on.
So we're going to talk about Infinity War today, and we're going to start off with non-spoilers. Do you have anything non-spoiling you want to say for the two people in the world that haven't seen this?
Well, that wouldn't be too hard to do. For those of you who have seen, obviously going into this, most people have probably seen all the other movies. Review. How do you want to do that? Yeah, probably
right. I mean, my non-spoiler review goes something like, "It's really good if you like the MCU. It's really, really, really good if you like the MCU."
I'll put it to you this way. I think one thing that we do have on our hands is we have a contender for another one to chase after Avatar and those big movies. This movie is a movie you want to go see more than once.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's gonna box numbers will speak for itself. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yeah.
There's a good chance it's gonna knock some of them out of the water.
I agree. I don't think it's gonna hit the top spots, but I base it on the fact that Star Wars, The Force Awakens, Avatar, and Titanic didn't have other movies to contend with for usually quite some time. And we've got Deadpool 2 coming, we've got Solo, a Star Wars story coming, we've got Jurassic World 2, we've got, I can't remember everything that's coming, but that's just in the next month or so. So it's not going to have the repeat business that some of those other movies did, but it's got a great start. It was the #1 domestic opening of all time. 257.7 million or something like that. And biggest worldwide opening of all time, 630 million, and it still hasn't opened in China.
Nice.
And that's good for another 100 to 150 million, I would imagine. So it's not like they're hurting, but I don't know if it's going to hit that $2 billion mark just because people are going to go see Deadpool and Solo and those other movies.
Let me bring up another good point, though. And for those of you who know, I am a huge Star Wars fan, and I went and saw The Force Awakens twice at the theater.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, this movie I think will beat The Force Awakens just for the mere fact this is a movie that you want to go see in the theater probably 2, 3, 4 times. If you can afford to do all that, this is a movie you're going to want to go back and see. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
I will go back and see it.
I've been twice already.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go again. I've only seen it the once, but I'm saving up as much as I can for the con right now. That's a whole other conversation. But I did enjoy the movie a lot. But my non-spoiler review goes something like, "It's really good." But let's dig into the movie itself. So did you have a favorite character or characters in this movie other than Thanos? Thanos is his own thing.
Well, see, that's a hard question too, because on the movie end of it, I like a lot of them. I really do. Nobody really big came in new on the nobody new actually came in, I think, on the good guy side. On the Avengers team. I don't think there's anybody new. The new characters we did get, or Proxima Midnight. I'll tell you what, I will. God, the one I can't remember his name.
Are you talking about like the herald, like, "Praise be to Thanos, for you are about to be sacrificed for the glory of everybody"?
Yeah, his little wizard guy. That's what I call him.
His name is Ebony Maw.
That's right. Yes. But I know the other Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive. Proxima, a lot of people got a complaint there. She's kind of a little hokey looking, but she is kind of hokey looking in everything. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
those are doing pretty good.
So you're a big fan of comic books in general, though, right?
Yeah, I was. I don't read them like I used to. Let's put it that way.
Right, but still, these characters from the source material in a way that I don't.
Yes.
I'm not a comic book guy, but the MCU really is one of my 3 biggest fandoms, I would say. And as far as new characters, yeah, it's got to be Ebony Maw. He was hands down the coolest of the Black Order.
He was scary.
Yeah, he was. He was really intimidating. I mean, the fight between him and Iron Man and Doctor Strange and Wong in New York City felt like the third act of another Marvel movie, but it was like the first 15 or 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, everything he was in, I really enjoyed. I enjoyed him all the way through this movie. I really did. Probably for this one, yeah, I'd go with him. He was entertaining, very definitely more entertaining than any of the Black Order. That's for sure.
Right. He was the standout there. So nobody really pops for you on the hero side.
We'll see. There's nobody new, and let me see.
We all have our favorite, or maybe
I would probably go. God, see, I can't. I think I really enjoyed not a favorite character, but two characters that were just really good on screen together, and that was definitely going with I don't want to go actor names or character with Tony Stark and Peter Parker. Obviously, I really enjoyed that. And Star-Lord was Star-Lord. I mean, don't get me wrong; he's always great, but it was run-of-the-mill Star-Lord. He's always going to be
right.
That's just who he is.
Right. So the ones that stood out to me the most, I'm going to agree with you. That relationship between Tony Stark and Peter Parker was really great because we've always seen Peter Parker, every story we've ever seen him in, his parents are already dead, and then Uncle Ben dies, so he never has a father figure. And Tony Stark in this iteration of Marvel, because you're a comic book guy, there's several different universes, and there's Tony Stark in all of them, but he's different in all of them in some way. And I really like the way they earned that sort of father-son relationship with those characters. From Civil War, from Homecoming, and now in this movie, I thought it was really well executed. I'm going to throw Doctor Strange in. All three of those characters working together, I thought it was just magic every time they were on screen. If you're going to pardon my pun, my Doctor Strange pun, I thought it was just great. Sorry, excuse me. And I came out of this movie liking Scarlet Witch way more than I ever have before. Which is kind of funny because she drops the Russian accent. She just sounds like an American. I guess Wanda Maximoff is Americanizing herself. She's picking up the accent of those around her or whatever. But I think Elizabeth Olsen is fine as an actress, but in Age of Ultron and Civil War, she was fine. But I thought she did actually a really great job in this movie, so I'm going to add her to my list as well.
Yeah, she didn't really stick out to me as much as some of the other ones did. She really didn't.
Okay, that's difference of opinion,
Yeah.
Did anybody else stand out to you in general?
As far as character, let's see. See, some of the interactions that were great that we never got to see before, like Thor, Rabbit, and Tree. For those of you,
yes, Sweet Rabbit. Oh my gosh, that's probably the best line in the whole movie, in my opinion.
There's a lot of great. Let's go over that. There's a lot of great comedy in this. There really is.
There is. It's really funnier than I thought it would be because I was afraid they were going to ruin the serious tone, and they didn't. They just because the comedy was so natural.
Here's the big thing. Let's talk about this. I mean, I know you got a little schedule you want to go by, but here's the thing. When I went into this movie, I had fears. My biggest fear was, okay, we have maybe 30, yeah, probably around 30 different characters we're putting in one movie. It's never been done before, and they're known characters. This isn't just random. I think the number's probably close to 30. If not, oh well. But the thing is when you bring all these in, they already have their own movies. They already have their own distinguished characters. You're saying they got all their own worlds already, and then when you push them all together, does it work? And that's what I was scared of. Is this going to keep, when you put Tony Stark with this person, is it going to seem kind of hokey? Like when I was like, I wonder if they'll put Tony Stark and Doctor Strange together. I don't know how that would even mesh. But you know what? They nailed it.
They did. I agree with you. They nailed it. And especially when you get those two egos bouncing off each other, because neither one of them was prepared to back down from the other. Both was also willing to say, okay, you've got a point, even if it was begrudgingly. They both admitted that the other one had a point of view that maybe they hadn't considered. I thought that was really strong for both of them because they both think they're the smartest person in the room everywhere they go.
I'm still floored that they pulled it off. I don't know. Even when I think about it, I just can't, because, like we were talking about, you got all these different, all the interactions were absolutely great. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of anybody that look, because sometimes when you put different actors together, it just kind of looks like acting. You know what I mean? And did they readjust this character to fit in? They didn't. It was like they were that same character from Guardians of the Galaxy or Ant-Man. Or now, I'm sorry, Ant-Man's not involved in this one, but you know what I mean? Anything, Black Panther, and it was just like this universe exists. That's how I felt. You know what I mean? I mean, this is that world. You know what I mean? Where it wasn't like a bunch of movies thrown in together to try to make a movie. You know what I mean?
Right. But they earned it by building this cinematic universe for 10 years. They made good movie after good movie. I mean, you look at the movies in the MCU that people consider to be the worst. Things like Thor the Dark World and Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3. A lot of people like Iron Man 3. I didn't love it, but I still acknowledge that it's a really well made, well acted, it's just not the story that I wanted. And in hindsight, I like it way better than I used to. But they don't make a bad movie. Their casting is so on point. Everybody they get seems to just embody the character. I mean, can anybody play Star Lord but Chris Pratt? Can anybody be Doctor Strange but Benny Combs? Can RDJ is synonymous with Tony Stark? And Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man we've ever had.
He potentially is. He potentially is. I'm not gonna, jump the gun on that one yet because I think he's gonna blow them all out. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he is, but shit happens.
You're right. It's possible that the next movie that it's possible Ant-Man and the Wasp is a snoozer, and then Captain Marvel comes out and they handle it badly, and then everybody hates the end of. It's possible. But
what happens? I mean, look at Tobey Maguire, who was doing a good job. Those movies were, but with that third one, huh?
I'm not saying any of them were bad. I'm
saying. Here's my example is when you got to the third one, his acting didn't seem, nothing about that movie really gelled with me. It didn't vibe. It didn't. Here's one of the things you can watch these movies. Oh, it's supposed to be a great movie, and it's this or it's Spawn or it's something that you want to see, and you go in there and it's just. Okay, prime example, I don't want to go there, but the new Star Wars movie is just there's points in that movie where you're kind of this isn't that universe to me. You know what I mean? So, but with this movie, it's like bam. It's like, you want it, you got it. We're gonna give it to you. And it's great. I mean, like I said, it's a movie you want to keep going to see. You're gonna want to own it on Blu-ray. I mean, they're gonna make a lot of money off of this.
So I guess that'll lead me into my next question. We're just skipping around my notes, it's fine. Is it the best Marvel movie?
In my opinion, I'm going to say yes because they pulled off more than any of the other ones have. I mean, the storyline, the one thing about this movie I can tell you, from the opening credits, when this movie starts till it ends, there is constantly, it has your attention. You don't want to pull away. You don't want to pee. You don't want to leave the room because this movie is constantly go, 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 go. There's guts all through this movie. You know what I mean? It doesn't stop. And I like that. There's one little point. Okay. Kind of like,
Fair enough. I don't agree with that sentiment, but there's a reason I asked the question that way because a lot of people do feel like it's the best one, and I think it's really, really fantastic piece of storytelling. But to me, and I'm about to get movie snob on you.
Okay, go ahead.
It doesn't have the narrative structure of a traditional movie, though it's the same way that something like The Winter Soldier or the first Guardians of the Galaxy or Black Panther does. So, excuse me. That for me is why I don't put it in the top spot. Actually, one of my other questions on here is it a movie? you know. But
Good.
but that's a weird. I mean, I recognize that that's a weird question to ask. But when you talk about the fact that you can't watch this without watching the other ones, really, you're not going to have any clue what's going on because this film expects you to have seen the previous ones, and that's not a bad thing.
I don't necessarily agree with that, though.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because one thing is, here's a market that we know most of the world, even Grandma Sue, who doesn't, she knows who the Hulk is. She knows who Thor is. You know what I'm saying? These are characters that are household names. But one of the things about this movie is there's no depth that I saw from a movie that was absolutely imperative to this movie. I think this movie, if you watched it, it will make you watch the other movies. I honestly believe that if you hadn't seen the other ones. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, yeah, this is Scarlet Witch. There's no big, you know what I mean? There's no big plot things that, like, oh, that comes from this or that. You know these characters pretty, you know what I mean? What they had to do and what they did, I give them 100% credit for, because I was very skeptical because I got Star Wars fever, I got burned. And I'm like, oh, let's see if they can do it, because you're trying to do something big. And that's just the thing that is very impressive to me. I say, thank you, Disney. But, dude, think about it.
I'm by no means saying it's not a true achievement, but
it wasn't supposed to be a big storyline, though.
It is, which is why the MCU, you almost have to talk about it with an asterisk next to it the whole time, because we're obviously both big Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire fans. That's how we actually know each other.
I will give you one bitch, okay? Excuse my
language. Great.
I'll give you one that I can say, because here's the thing. You have these characters, they're so well done, okay? They really are, and you know that. They're very well done that you know who they are, their personalities shine, and then so you bring in new characters. So you got Thanos, right? And they did a great job of portraying Thanos. The storyline with him was great. It was enough for you to know kind of what this guy's about. They actually give him more of a compassion than the comic book Thanos actually has. And I love what they did with it. They didn't go out there in left field. But the one thing I could say, they hardly even mention the name of the Black Order, and that's the one thing. There's no depth to that Black Order whatsoever.
See, the thing is,
no bitches.
I think you actually just made a point in favor of what I was saying earlier, and that you said, we know these characters, we know who they are, and if you haven't watched these movies, you don't necessarily know these characters and who they are. This is not the entry point. Again, we're both big Game of Thrones fans. That's how we know each other.
Yeah.
We met through that fandom, and Game of Thrones is a sort of long arc storytelling. It's a very slow burn narrative in a lot of ways, and that's what they've done here. I don't know. I almost don't consider this a TV or a series of movies, but it's more like a TV show. And people have been saying this feels like the season finale. It actually doesn't. This feels like the Red Wedding and the Battle of the Bastards had an MCU baby. And probably the next one will be a true finale.
Yeah.
But you don't come into Game of Thrones and watch the Red Wedding because that's not the entry point.
Exactly.
You could start watching in season 2. You could start watching in season 3 and catch up. I mean, if the first movie you ever saw was Thor Ragnarok, and then you watched Black Panther, and then you watched this, you're at least caught up with kind of what's happening in the immediate part of the story.
I do have a comment on that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I think I'm done. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. You've walked in a comic book store in your life, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
You picked up a comic and started reading through it?
I've read comics before. I'm just not a comic book guy.
Hey, I got a point here. So basically, you've read a comic, and most people have done this. They have read comic, right? They pick it up, and maybe they purchase it. And what they see in there are missing pieces that actually make them – the comic is well done, but it makes you definitely dig into the storyline. Does that make sense to you? And I think a marketing job, I think Disney did exactly – or Marvel, did exactly – what they wanted to do, because this movie is so good that you're like, if this is the only one you've seen of all of them, you're gonna be, wait a minute. Or even like I gotta admit something, I haven't gone to the theater and watched Black Panther.
You have
The only one I haven't seen. I have not seen I've seen everyone but Black Panther.
Oh my gosh. Okay. To me, Black Panther is better than this movie. But what I'm trying to get out of the story is different, maybe, than what you're trying to get out of this story. And fine, hey, we all, I think you're going to love it. It may not speak to you the same way it spoke to me. I have this. I look at different things, but that's why I wanted to have you on, because I don't need to just somebody who's going to echo everything I say.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to move on to the next thing. My gripes. You said you had one gripe.
Repeat that.
Gripes. You said you had the one gripe about the Black Order earlier, so I'm going to give you the entire list of all of my gripes. Are you ready?
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm allowed to disagree, right?
Yeah, you are, absolutely.
Go for it.
Okay, the Black Order was underused. There was a spot or two where the CGI, especially around Mark Ruffalo in the Hulkbuster armor, where his head's popping out the top, there's a little bit of that didn't quite make it for me. I think that might be it,
I didn't like him being in that Hulkbuster armor at all. I did not like that.
I was fine with him doing it, but I thought some of the CGI, especially when his head was popping out the top, I'm like, not quite. Because it felt like it was floating in there, kind of. But
and Proxima Midnight, I'll admit that she had some.
Yeah,
she that kind of a little better too, I think.
But she's a non-human character, so I guess I can forgive that a little bit more. Thanos, on the other hand, looked amazing.
Yeah,
I felt like I could reach out and touch him, which is not something I say of most CG characters.
Talking about that, when I first saw pictures of him, I wanted him to be more a little true to his color in the comics. He's not, but what they did, and you're right. When I saw him with no helmet on and all that, I'm just like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this Thanos. But you know what, though? I mean, even from the first scene, spoiler free, he has a fight scene, and he looks good.
Now. Huh? We're in full spoilers now.
We're in spoiler area. Okay, all right, good. No,
I guess I should have said that, but I feel like I've been dropping a little spoilery stuff here and there. But yeah, full spoilers. Okay, you ready? Everybody dies.
Kind of.
Heimdall, Loki, Gamora, Vision, all dead before the snap. In more or less that order, I think. Heimdall and Loki in like the first 5 minutes. Gamora kind of is the thrust of the second act, and then Vision is kind of the thrust of the third act. Then you have the snap, and we see the Black Panther, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Winter Soldier, Falcon, Scarlet Witch, Star-Lord, Drax, Groot, and Mantis all dissipate.
Strange got snapped too?
Yes, he did.
Oh, I don't remember that. Huh.
And then in the post-credit scene, obviously, Nick Fury and Maria Hill.
Do what?
Nick Fury and Maria Hill dissipate into dust in the post-credit scene. The people that we know for sure did not turn to dust because we saw them not turn to dust when everybody else was. So the 5 original Avengers that were in this movie, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, and Black Widow, all survived, as well as War Machine, Nebula, Okoye, and M'Baku. We saw all of them make it through. Then there's characters we're not sure about, people like Shuri. I figure Shuri is Black Panther's sister. You haven't seen Black Panther.
I know the character.
Yeah, but so her, we haven't, we didn't see her post-snap to know one way or the other. There's a couple other folks. I can't remember any off the top of my head.
Rocket was the only Guardian, and I think in Nebula, right? They're the only two from that.
Rocket, whose biggest fear is being alone, now has no one around him, which I thought was kind of a great choice. That's another thing. I really did enjoy this movie. It's just for me to love it on the same level as people who are saying it's the best, it needs more of a standalone narrative structure. But I'm just going to throw that out the window. They did achieve something that's never been done before.
They did more than one thing too. Go ahead.
Well, you know, the way they collided, all the Guardians of the Galaxy with Thor, with some of the characters going to meet up with characters on Earth, like the original Avengers. The way they balanced the tone in those characters was really, really brilliant. But
Here's what they did. This is why I'm so impressed. Is don't get me wrong. Some of the other movies might have better depth, or you know what I mean. It's just that what they did. I just I got to bow. You know what I mean? It's just like wow because. We've watched a lot of movies. Okay, anything. You take Freddy Krueger. You take any of these movies that have all these multiple sequels, and they just get, just stretched to crap. You know what I mean?
I do.
You're supposed to build up, and the thing is, okay, you're trying to do. That's why I was so scared. I'm like, you're bringing all these characters. You're getting into this big thing, and the thing is, did they pull it off? And I got 100% to say they did. They made it happen. There was depth with story character. You got that with Thanos. There's some definitely tender moments in there. The whole thing with Scarlet Witch and Vision, Rocket too. You feel sorry for him a little bit because just the way he bows his head, you're just like, damn, dude. Yeah, that's just my feeling on it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just, did they pull off the impossible? They did.
I don't disagree with you. Again, for me, it's coming. We're splitting hairs over what do I like in a movie versus what do you like in a movie. It's just a difference of opinion.
Oh yeah, I agree.
What I do want to get into now, and we've skirted around it a couple of times, but let's talk about the main character of this movie, Thanos. Best villain in the MCU, hands down, and almost just elevated himself to that level in the first 5 or 10 minutes.
One of the biggest fears I have, and I'm just going to say, I mean, just did they deliver on Thanos? Absolutely, above and beyond. To give him a little depth like they did was just wow. I mean, there's stuff there that I didn't think because we got him in other movies, and that was the Thanos I thought we were going to get. Just headstrong. I'm trying not to curse. Just right. Billy Badass. I mean, that's what you're thinking you're going to get with him, and he didn't. He had depth and backstory, and it was nice. I mean, it was really nice.
It was. So Thanos, I mean, the let him have his fun moment, I was like, ooh, as soon as when the Hulk is smashing you and somebody's about to jump in and help you, and somebody else tells him, nah, he's just playing around. Dude, that elevated Thanos in my estimation, and then he whooped the crap out of him, which is why the Hulk didn't want to come back for the rest of the movie, I think, if he was scared.
Can he do it without the glove, though? That's a good question. It's definitely a better fight.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It would be a better fight, but he pretty well worked him with just the one.
Oh, he worked him.
Just the Power Stone at that point. But what I found most intriguing about Thanos, what everybody's finding most intriguing, is his philosophy and the way he views what he's doing as not only like good, but like I'm burdened with this purpose to set the universe right because nobody else can. I'm the only one that can bring this peace and prosperity because he's not trying to take over the universe. He's not trying to blow up the sun or, he's trying to set things in balance. And on a certain level, that's a noble pursuit. Now, his methods are obviously those of a madman, but I found Thanos to be so sympathetic in a way that I didn't think was even going to be possible. Because he's not that mustache twirling villain, the people that are left behind, he thinks he's doing them the greatest favor.
You're right. You're right. And then that's just it. It's just kind of like it makes you. It made me bring up a lot of questions. Does he have? He does have a sense of madness to him because someone that is mad, technically mad, not like angry mad, but like Mad Hatter mad. Okay?
The Mad Titan. It's not because he's angry. It's because he's crazy.
He is, but it's people that are mad like that, or let's just say a little off their rocker, because he is that he believes wholeheartedly in his head that what he's doing is just and for the better of things. He beliees that.
Which is
but in this movie, I think he might have a different opinion on that. So that's going to be interesting on that turn.
Yeah, because Gamora asks him at the end, or baby Gamora in the Soul Stone. I believe it's been confirmed by the directors that scene takes place within the Soul Stone. After the snap, he sees baby Gamora and the sky is all orange. I believe they said a couple of days ago that is inside the pocket dimension of the Soul Stone. And she asks him, "What did it cost you?" And he says, "Everything." But he knew it was going to cost him that, and he loved Gamora. He couldn't have gotten the Soul Stone if he didn't. But he's one of those like, on a certain level, he's Stannis. He was willing to sacrifice everything for what he believed to be the greater good. He's just blinded by fear. And that fear is born of what happened to his home planet that he tried to save. So he's a legendary villain already, in my opinion. I'm not ready to put him over to Heath Ledger's Joker or anything, but on further viewing, maybe I am. But
shit,
he's so good.
All right, here's one of your breaking points. I'm sorry. Did you just notice how dark it just got?
All right. Well, Tarzan is rolling out for a second, so I'll just keep the camera on me. And he's back.
It got dark quick here. Sorry.
Yeah, it got dark here too. But that was sometime.
Do you have any fears though? Because I'll tell you what, the big thing is I think potentially the next movie, which is next year, so that's kind of cool too. I mean,
it's already shot.
Yeah, just probably some CGI cleanup and all that fun stuff. Could it be better? I think it could be. I think it could be better. So, I mean, just call it the best one. I don't know. I mean, I might have a different opinion after the second one. I might even end up pushing this one down to third. That's what's good about a good story.
Oh, you disconnected. I'm going to try to get Tarzan back. All right. I'm going to try to get Tarzan back. There you are.
I don't know what happened. It kicked me.
Yeah, you're good. It was only not very long. Anyway,
I'm really excited. I'm real curious. Again, I'm always kind of cautious, and I've gotten a little more gun shy because of the Star Wars universe. I hope they nail this because this is. But the other problem is I know they have a future of doing more Marvel stuff, right?
That is okay. So that is my one other gripe. Oh, excuse me. At the end of this movie, after the snap, I feel like some of the emotional weight wasn't there for me that I wanted it to be because I knew none of these deaths were going to be permanent after the snap. Because, I mean, when Bucky Barnes started to dissipate, I was like, oh, crap, this is happening. Then when Black Panther, who was the second one, started to dissipate, I'm like, oh, okay, so all these people are coming back then. Because they're not – Black Panther was an amazing movie, and they're not going to take $1 billion franchise and just light it on fire. And then when Peter Parker and almost all the Guardians, it's just
we're getting another Spider-Man, so
right. That movie's coming out. It's about to start shooting in July, so obviously he's coming back. I mean, I guess there is a path where they're like, nope, Peter. It's not Peter Parker. It's Miles Morales now.
Oh,
And,
no, don't do that.
but there's no way that's going to happen. But
No, we just got started with him. There's no way.
Anybody after the snap can come back. Likely many of them, if not all of them, will. I expect those that are left behind to have to be the ones to pay the price to bring them back. People like the original Avengers whose contracts are running out and don't necessarily want to continue anyway,
We'll talk about that when you want to. Yeah, I think we are losing some for sure in that next movie. The people are definitely going to die. And I'm not even convinced yet that Gamora's not coming back. I just don't think.
Yeah, I agree. Her death is associated with the Soul Stone.
Yeah. But potentially something there could happen because seeing Red Skull, he might be coming back somehow. You know what I mean? It's just they're doing some interesting stuff. They did some really interesting stuff in here that definitely has got you. Even if if you have seen the movies, you're like, oh, I mean, anybody who knows Captain America knows who Red Skull is, and that I thought he went way too fast myself. I did. I think he's more than a one movie character. He kind of like Thanos.
Well, he's a 2-movie character now. I mean, he didn't have a whole lot.
There's no depth really in this one too.
But I thought the way he used it was really smart too, because he was a Soul Stone punished him by making him the guardian of another Soul Stone that he could never obtain, because to obtain the Soul Stone, one Infinity Stone made him the guardian of another Infinity Stone. The Space Stone transported him to wherever he is. Now he has to guard the Soul Stone, and he can never achieve it because you have to give up what you love the most, and he doesn't love anything. So I thought that was a pretty nice use of that character. It made sense for him to be there. It wasn't a throwaway, and it rewarded.
I just never was convinced. I see. That's why I wonder moving forward if that was the thing that he loved most. You know what I mean? I'm still kind of not convinced of that.
Right.
So that kind of there's some kind of rift here. There's something went wrong. Okay, something went wrong.
Well. What do you mean?
Well, we're going to find out that something with Thanos and what he thought was going to happen, what actually happened.
Oh, I see.
The reality of things isn't what he was anticipating. And then we got that little piece of that already.
Right. Well, he did say that after, what did he do afterwards? He said, I'll watch the sunrise on a grateful universe. Well, at the end of the movie, we see him watching the sunrise, but I bet the universe is not going to be that grateful, and he may second guess, he may second guess everything he did. I can't swear I don't expect that to happen, but it could.
He's definitely second guessing already. We see that. He's definitely second guessing what just went down. Do you have any? What do you think about? Go ahead. Let's stick to your script. But at the end, I have some more questions.
I mean, go ahead and ask your questions, man.
Well, they get off key. They probably go in a direction maybe you're going, and that's kind of just what direction are we going in? Do you want to kind of just stick to?
You want to start looking ahead at the next films?
Yeah, we'll probably end up going back and forth. That's just how a conversation works.
Again, this is just a conversation, man.
Right on.
But go ahead. Whatever you've got, whatever questions you've got.
Well, some of the things, let's just kind of go with what we know. All right. So I would guess Ant-Man and Wasp, more than likely, we're going to have some fill-in until whatever is going to rematerialize with these other characters or how that's all going to work. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. I'm not going to try to I like to make an intelligent opinion on things. I don't like to get batshit crazy.
I do.
Yeah, right on.
Bold prediction. Ant-Man and the Wasp post-credit scene has people turning into dust.
I would think so too, or maybe one of them gets actually dusted. I wouldn't doubt that. We already know from the end of this movie, Captain Marvel is going to be involved, and here's the kicker. I don't know if you know this, but Captain Marvel comes out in March of next year. And only 2 months later comes this other movie.
I do know that. I'm pretty plugged into what's happening in the MCU.
That's a pretty, I mean, you might be taking some money. Well, no, that's probably about right. That's really going to get people, I think, on board on that Captain Marvel bandwagon, because she's literally going to go from, you're going to get like 2 Captain Marvel movies in 2 months.
Yeah, because she's probably going to figure very, very highly in Avengers 4, Untaxed, whatever.
Whatever we see in this Captain Marvel movie, I think is jumping right into Thanos.
Yeah, I mean, it's like so the Captain Marvel movie is supposed to be set in the 90s. I have this theory that the pager that Nick Fury uses at the end of the movie, she's going to have this pager at the end of her movie, and it's going to go off, and it's going to call her from the 90s to the present day, which is why she's not there. And because it happens post-snap, that's why she never got blinked out of existence, because post-snap, you know? She wasn't there when the snap happened.
Or, I mean, some weren't affected.
Right. I mean, it is 50-50, but I don't know. Again, I'm just ideas I have had. I'm not married to anything, but you know, I think it'd be kind of cool if her movie ends with Nick Fury's page and she's still in the 90s and she has to time travel to 2019 to save the universe.
I have 2 big fears just in general with, I mean, actually 3. I'm liking the Marvel Universe. I love it. I think they've done a great job. And I think, honestly, like this movie helps even polish some of the other movies. You know what I'm saying? They did such a good job that, like, even Doctor Strange, for some reason, not that I missed anything, I want to go back and watch that again. You see what I'm saying? They really complemented with their previous works, which, like, you know, if you take any of these other sequels, it kind of don't always do that, especially as big as this is. How many films are we looking at already that led up to this?
This is film number 19.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. Which is why which kind of goes back to my point earlier that I was saying about this isn't really. It's a movie, obviously, but it's not a movie like other movies in that it's like supplementary scenes from all these other movies crammed together, but the way they jigsawed it together really was kind of brilliant, and I applaud them for what they accomplished here, because it is something that's.
It was exactly, I'll tell you what it was. It was exactly what I was hoping for. I wasn't expecting major character death. There's no way with this many characters. There's no freaking way. You're talking about a 5-hour movie, okay?
Right.
You're getting, and they did it. They're like, this is this character, boom. And just the acting and that little section you get of every character, you understand that. You know what I mean? I mean, the development of characters is amazing. That I can say.
I mean, I don't want you to misunderstand. I'm not trying to detract from this movie in any way, but when you say movie, this type of storytelling is not what I think of.
Okay. It was, again, I mean, and I'll argue with you in a weird way and agree to. It's right. Like, it was the comic book movie that it was very comic-y too. You know what I mean? I mean, it was really.
I feel like it was.
Yeah, I mean, it did exactly what I expected it to do and beyond that. It exceeded my expectations, because I was so worried that I was going to find a lot of glitches and like characters interaction and, you know, just how does this make sense? How are you managing these two together? Oh, all of a sudden, hey, I'm here to, you know what I mean? They didn't do that. Everything, even like with the Doctor Strange and the Iron Man thing right in the beginning, it was smart. You know what I mean? They made it right away. Oh, okay, cool. That's why these characters are together. Okay, that's why Rabbit's with Thor. You know what I mean? I mean, they did a good. They wove them together pretty nice, and I think that's why I kind of like, you know, have the opinion I have on it for right now. Okay, that could change, and maybe I'll have a different opinion when I go watch them all again, and, you know, kind of.
Right.
But it just exceeded my expectations, because everything is built up to this, right? Everything is built up to this movie. We've known that from phase one, that this was the direction they were going.
Pretty much since 2012 when the Avengers came out and they first showed us Thanos, this is what they've been building towards. And we thought when Avengers came out, I thought, how are they going to pull this off with 6 characters in one movie? Holy crap. They've got 5 times that many in this movie. And I definitely think this is one of the best installments in the MCU. But again, I'm going to split hairs with you over the definition of what's a movie.
But I mean, that's arguable because Goonies, great movie, a lot of character. I mean, it had probably more character depth in that movie. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? It was what it was supposed to be to me. Is it a movie? Yeah, it's definitely a movie, but it's just. I see what you're saying. You're talking about in depth. I get you when you kind of compare it to like Game of Thrones or anything out there, Flowers in the Attic or something that really there's movies like there's a movie called Basic that I love that's really just kind of in your brain. Okay. I'm
not even talking about that. I'm talking about a story that has like when you walk in, it introduces you to the characters. You get to know them. You get to see what they go through and how they resolve it. And this movie does not really do that. I mean, it does some of that because of Black Order and Thanos. And I understand that it's Thanos' arc that runs through the middle of it. But this is not a standalone story. This is not a movie you just watch and that's it.
No, I agree with you. But you know what? I think that was the marketing ploy to begin with. You know what I mean? I think that's exactly what it was.
I think they're really smart. I mean, obviously, from a commercial standpoint, it's brilliant. Not only are you raking in money left and right from your more traditional narratives, your things like Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Man Homecoming, those movies are, and then they make you want to see this huge crossover event.
But I'll give you this. Not only was it a movie, it was a 3-hour or 2 hour and 40-minute trailer to the previous movies.
Okay, I'll take that.
All right, though, because that's what it does. I mean, if you watch this movie, or I'll tell you what, with you and I, watching some of it, it just makes me want to go back. Like I said, I want to watch Doctor Strange again. There's a couple things there I want to go back and, touch on.
I did feel like that's one thing they did do really well, was give every character at least a moment to shine and make every movie you watched up to this point seem like it was worthwhile to watch because the story literally touched in some way, more or less, on every single movie that came before it.
Yeah.
Sometimes only very slightly. There wasn't a whole lot of Iron Man 3, but somebody asked about the Extremists and, So
I'm with you on that. I can agree with you on that. I can agree with you on that. And it just makes me, like I said, I want to go back and watch some of these films again. I do.
Right. But as I'm a fan. You're a fan. As fans, I feel like it made all those other movies, which, hey, they gave me what I asked for at the time. They gave me a movie that was fun to watch and well made. But it made every movie that I watched before this matter that much more because of the way they tied them all together, because of the way they remembered what happened 8 movies ago, 12 movies ago.
Here's what they did. And again, just brilliant. This movie, okay, so at this point in time, you have a generation of young kids that are probably going to see this movie. This is going to be one of the movies that actually, they're at that age where this is going to sink into their brain, okay? And they're just going to be like, wow, wow, wow. There's a lot of wow in there for someone, and I have a small child. He's already, he's deep in. But, I could just picture a 4 or 5-year-old like I was when I first saw the Star Wars movie, you know what I mean? I just could not wait for Empire. I could not wait. There's already material there, and I see these kids that come in and see this movie. And that's what they also did today. I think they hit all audiences. But there was kind of, the flip the bird and stuff like that. But
it's fine.
Some people, there's some family structures that might be, I don't know. I mean, it could be in that, but I mean, as a small child, I can see myself seeing this and be like, "Oh my God, Dad, I need to go see. I want to see all of these." You know what I mean? And I think marketing wise, they just kind of did a good job. I really did a good job.
Right, I agree. They should be very, very proud. It's a win all around for the MCU, for Disney, for everybody involved, And to me, it makes me feel like this is the next generation's Star Wars now, because I feel like the MCU has eclipsed Star Wars with younger audiences. We grew up with Star Wars. It'll probably never surpass my love for the originals. But, ask somebody who's 15 right now who they identify more with. Luke Skywalker or Tony Stark, and I bet the vast majority are going to find somebody in the MCU that they identify more with, more than the Star Wars character. I don't know how you feel about that.
My concerns.
Concern? Why would you be concerned about that?
I'm not, but I mean, it keeps making me think about this big worry I have with this Marvel universe, because they've done a great job up to this point. But it's like this next movie, you have Thanos, right?
Yeah.
Who else do you have on Team Bad Guy? You know what I mean?
Who can pick up and be the bad guy after Thanos?
Well, no, before I was going to get to that, but I'm just saying it's going to be everybody versus Thanos pretty much. There's no Blackwood or it's going to be kind of, I see the reason I think why they have just basically cut their cast in half, which will probably pop up again at the end of this next movie. I don't know. That's my guess. And bring in some of these other ones now, obviously Captain Marvel, and I wouldn't be surprised with Ant-Man and Wasp showing up. You get what I'm saying? Actually, Hawkeye, he might probably pop up in here. Who else are we missing? That's it, right?
From the known characters, yeah, the only ones we didn't see were Ant-Man, Wasp, and Hawkeye, and I guess you can throw Captain Marvel in there as well.
And maybe some type of secondary character from that Captain Marvel universe is possible.
Everett Ross, and again, Shuri from Black Panther. There was a couple others who I thought of, but I don't remember them right now. But most people are either accounted for one way or the other. There's a small handful of named characters that are not super clear.
I'm pretty much convinced in my head that, these characters that we love, that, that they have developed, I think we're going to lose a good handful of them, like permanently. After this next
I do too. So my headcanon right now is that the original Avengers, the original 6, will have to get together, and they're the ones that are going to have to truly die in order to set the universe back to right. And there's 6 of them, and there's 6 Infinity Stones. So, it's
nice. Yeah.
It's kind of poetry. The ones that started the whole thing are going to be the ones that have to save it in the end. But they don't want to pay Robert Downey Jr. $30 million a movie anymore. Chris Evans doesn't really want to play Captain America anymore.
I think he's gone.
Yeah.
Hawkeye's probably gone. Who do you think's going to die? Who do you think's done?
Who do I think is done at the end of the next movie?
Yeah.
The original 6. I'm just going to go with that. It's crazy, I know, but I'm just going to take the original 6, and that's it.
I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. Because I think.
Come at me, bro.
Well, I'll tell you why. I think Hulk definitely lives. And reason for that, I know there's been rumors that they really want to touch on the other Hulks. Red Hulk, She-Hulk.
Okay.
Gotta have that. You gotta have the Hulk for that. You've got absolutely. I don't think the Hulk's going anywhere. And the thing is, with the Hulk, I mean, that's kind of, it's a big CGI thing anyway. The Hulk is CGI, and
right.
they've switched Hulks on us. As far as now, I'm sorry, they switched Bruce Banner 3 times.
Well, in the MCU once, Ed Norton played the Incredible Hulk. If you're talking about Hulk, that movie from way back that had Eric Bana, that is not MCU. The Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton is MCU, and then the next time we see him, it's Mark Ruffalo.
I think Mark Ruffalo will work for the right price for them. I think that's not.
But you asked me for my prediction, so and I like being scandalous. So all 6 original Avengers, they're gone.
I think Hulk and Thor are probably good. I think
if I was going to pick 2, it would probably be Thor and Hulk to keep. But I think your number 1 is Chris Evans. We'll just use their character names. Captain America. Your number 2 is Iron Man.
Tony might not die. I'm kind of 50-50 on him because I know they don't want to pay him what he wants, but they keep using him they keep using him.
Yeah, because he had movies in his contract, and now after I think Avengers 4 is the last movie he has to do according to that contract. So it would either be a new contract or he would go movie by movie. And back in 2007 when they started shooting Iron Man and they cast Robert Downey Jr., he was anything but a sure bet at that point. He was just bouncing back from the troubles he had earlier. But now he's probably one of the most in-demand actors in Hollywood. So maybe he's ready to move on to something else. Maybe he doesn't want to devote the time to playing the character. And you can't argue with that. He's an actor. It's what he does.
Evans is going to get away with it. I think it's going to be really hard for Downey Jr. I think it's going to be really hard. I think he finally found that role that was just absolutely, kind of like got stuck in that, that's him. I mean, he's Tony Stark. I don't know.
He is pretty perfect for that role.
Yeah, he nailed that. There's no doubt about it. I mean, when he did the first Iron Man movie, like, good pick. Good job. At first, I was kind of like, going into it before the movie came out. I was like, maybe. And then I was like, oh, yeah, this is Iron Man. This is our Iron Man. Absolutely. Even like with, what's it, Hemsworth? I was skeptical there, too, because I was expecting more kind of like this Triple H kind of guy. You know what I mean? But he's our Thor. He a lot of these people, they got it. They sold me. How about that? That's the best way to put it. They sold me. Even like I see Miss Marvel, I'm kind of like, but let's see what they do. They might get me.
They have not missed on the casting train yet, if you ask me. And Brie Larson, who is playing Captain Marvel, is an excellent actress. So you may not be super familiar with her work, but I like everything I've seen her in. So I think she's got exactly what it takes. So
she just looked a little weird to me. We'll see. And again, once they're on screen, they change my mind. You know what I mean? Even like when I saw Thanos, it's kind of like it's like a giant grape or something. You know what I mean? It's just it works.
I'm with you because like I wasn't the surest about Marvel casting more than once, but they have proven me wrong every time. I'm like, I'm not sure about this guy. Oh no, actually he's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this giant knuckleheaded looking wrestler is going to play a sort of comedic guy in this movie with a talking raccoon and blah. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? You're hiring WWE guys now? What are you doing? No, man, Dave Bautista. My favorite character in the first Guardians of the Galaxy is Drax.
He rocks, man. He does. And I'll tell you what, not to get off topic, some of these wrestlers, they do have some pretty good acting jobs.
Yeah, I've come to give them a little more credit. The Rock,
some of them are not. Like John Cena is just not good to me on film. He's better in wrestling. The Rock can pull it off.
I haven't seen it yet, but he's got this movie that just came out called Blockers, where he plays just like a suburban dad role, and I heard he was actually pretty good. So maybe not put him in the action blockbusters, but follow a little bit more down the comedic role, which The Rock does it. Batista's done a great job with the Drax character. I haven't used him as well as I wanted him to since the first movie. We're getting off topic though. We're talking about MCU.
Yeah, but you're right. Let's go to the Batista because his comic acting is amazing. It really is.
He's hilarious.
He's not that. He's so far from his wrestling character. It's crazy. Just like Kevin Nash. You know who that is? When he did like that movie, The Longest Yard, their comedy chops are pretty freaking nice. You know what I mean? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but he actually, those two guys I think have made me laugh more than any other wrestler ever have, but getting away from wrestling. You know what I mean? I'm with you on that. I'm absolutely 100% with you, but I have fears.
Hey, you're allowed to have fears, man.
How do you top Thanos? Because I know that's in your head too. What do you do now?
I mean, some of that is like you've got to keep one open. You've got to keep one open. But if you can come out the other side come on, Brad, yeah, Avengers 4 with a good number of less heroes. You don't need a villain as powerful as Thanos to continue to challenge them. And you're a comic book guy more than I am. And so you would know the answer better than I would, but there's no limit. There's no shortage of powerful, evil characters in the MCU. Galactus comes to mind. I know they don't have the rights to that character until the Fox merger goes through, but come on.
Yeah, but Galactus is going to be really hard to pull off to sell. I think he is.
Say that, except we already, a talking raccoon and a mobile tree that can only say, I am Groot, should not have worked, but it does. Doctor Strange, Thor Ragnarok, all of these things are way out there. We have decided to accept them. And this is a point that I've been actually trying to make about the MCU in general.
I'm just scared. I'm scared. I mean, there's a lot of great ones out there, but here's the thing. They have a new arsenal coming, okay? They have more. Now that they have – see, I would like to talk about that stuff too. I don't know if you want to do that, but even just kind of where Disney and, what direction they're going in or what direction I believe they should go in. And actually, I don't want to get too much into that because I know, for those of you who don't know, I'm on the Sci-Fi Podcast. I think that's going to be our next pop culture next month is talking about where Disney's headed. You got Blackheart. You got a lot of these crazy characters I'd like to see on screen. I just don't know, man. Because the basic fan is going to want you to top Thanos. You're going to have another big bad. And I don't think you can give Galactus the depth or, you can't. I don't know.
Okay,
that's what I'm scared about.
But that's a long way off, man. And the next Avengers movie may be 3 or 4 years after Avengers 4, because I really do feel like Avengers 4 is meant to tie up everything that came before it, and then their phase 4, whatever that is, moving forward, will have those new characters, different characters. We just got to see what they're going to give us. And how do you top Thanos? I mean, come on, man. There's plenty of characters out there. I picked Galactus.
When you think of the big bads, you think Apocalypse, you think Thanos right away. Those are the two that pop right to your head. And Apocalypse kind of got desecrated with that, what they did with him in the X-Men Fox universe. And I don't know, man. I'm just scared. I am. I just hope they can keep this going and entertaining. But you're right. I mean, they could do a build-up around the corner. There's other great characters like Hyperion. There's a lot of other characters out there that are going to be interesting on screen, but they might have to do something like that to do a group effort. You know what I mean? And just kind of bring the bad guys together. That might be the direction they go in. But you're right. There is phenomenal characters in this universe.
Yeah, and I mean, you're scared that maybe they're going to drop the ball, but man, that's like, would you want to live your life just being like, I'm afraid of they're going to?
I'm not, but I'm like, you guys are talking about phase 4 and 5 and all this.
You're afraid that they're going to mess it up because you love it so much, and you love it so much because they've done such a great job up to this point. So now you're just like, I know you've done great, but now I'm just waiting for you to screw it up. But
unfortunately, that's what's been happening with all my favorite, franchises.
Well, but you know, different people are different people, and there's going to come a point, maybe it's 20 years from now, where people don't care about the MCU anymore, and you know, that does not diminish the joy you got out of everything that came before. If they never make another movie, you would love what they gave you.
I will say this: this movie right here is going to be, and I will put money on it. It's going to be one of those infinity movies. It's going to be like Empire Strikes Back. It's going to be one of those movies you go back throughout your lifetime and you watch that movie. I bet you this is one of them.
I bet you're right, but again, I still don't put it above movie. It's probably my number 5, maybe number 6 in the MCU, but again, I'm looking for a certain specific, like self-contained, really in-depth story, which this has, but I digress.
But it is what it's supposed to be. I mean, I think that's where we have a difference of opinion. It's what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be like like you're this like a Game of Thrones kind of like Red Wedding episode, or it's not supposed to be this depth. It's not. We know what we're getting, kind of, but they gave us curveballs left and right. They really did. The predictability of where it's going is like, oh, okay, I'm okay with that, but I'm like, y'all got me. You know what I mean? Some of the things they did, I was like, oh, I did not see that coming, and that's what I look for in a movie.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm gonna look for that too, but for me, it's about character development over plot development, and I think it had a little more plot development than character development. But I can only complain about that so much because I had 18 other movies before this for them to develop the character. But
that's what that purpose was. That's what I'm saying.
But again, I'm talking in circles now. We're retreading the same ground. So I'm going to bring this back. We've been on for a little over an hour now. Do you have anything else that you want to make sure we cover?
I just had that one big question. Do you think the next one's going to top this one? Do you think they have enough pieces to do it? Because, I mean, they just eliminated a lot of chess pieces off the board.
Because the question you asked me was, do I think it will? I don't know if I can answer that. Do I think it can? I absolutely believe that it can. I believe it can.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm just so worried because I'm trying to get it in my head. And I try to predict, I try to think of things like if I was a director, you know what I mean? Or, in that business, it's like, okay, or, writing these scripts, it's like, where am I going to go with this? I mean, because it's just Thanos. I mean, how much can you do? I guarantee it's going to be another 2.5-hour movie at least. But I just don't want one bad guy. They're going to have, you know what I'm saying? It's just, so it's everybody, it's going to be interesting.
I don't think that it's going to be everybody versus Thanos knockdown drag out. I think that it's a miss if they do that. I'm going to say this right now. If Avengers 4 sort of centers around getting the last of the heroes together to go take on Thanos, I'm going to be disappointed in that. Because they should not be able to punch their way out of this.
You're right.
This movie, okay, so Infinity War is literally about what you're willing to sacrifice to achieve your goals, to keep people safe. Thanos is willing to sacrifice Gamora. Gamora begs Star-Lord to make that sacrifice. Same with Vision. And it's all about what you're willing to give up. What's a bridge too far? And if the next movie resolves by the original Avengers getting together and becoming stronger than Thanos so they can punch him harder, they really are undercutting the message of this movie, I think.
Question.
Answer.
And I think this could be a big factor. The Soul Stone, I think it's going to play a major factor in this. I could be wrong, but I would not be surprised if the Soul Stone plays a major factor somehow in this next movie.
I think it almost has to.
Yeah, absolutely. We have not seen the last of the Soul Stone. Maybe we'll get more depth on that. Maybe there's some kind of thing where they're going to mess with Red Skeleton and Cap will die and Bucky will take the mantle. That's kind of what I'm kind of swimming around in there, but we'll see.
Gamora's going to pop out of the Soul Stone and stab Thanos in the back.
Something's going to happen, man. Something's got to go down. Nebula's got to have more to do with this next movie, too. Remember that. She's got to have more to do with this. That's her whole thing is Thanos, kill Thanos, kill. There's something going down with that, too.
Yeah, I agree. She's still around for a reason. I think she's going to have a lot more to do in the next movie. I think everybody that's still around is going to have much more to do. And I can imagine scenarios where everybody that dissipated in the snap is now in the Soul Stone or something like that. And that's the way to come out, is to figure out how to open up that pocket dimension. It's possible.
I think we're getting that right at the beginning of this next movie. We're going to get an explanation kind of probably within the first 20, 30 minutes. That's coming right away.
Yeah. But I kind of don't, I don't know.
They did what I wanted them to do. What I wanted from this second, I can't keep going back to Star Wars. What I wanted to do leaving that new Star Wars movie was I wanted to go out of it like I did when I left Empire, with like questions, like which way are they going? I mean, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they pulled it off, and it's just like, wow.
This is why we disagree about Star Wars too. I did not love The Last Jedi. I did not. But I think I liked it a lot more than some other people did. But that's, again, based on things like themes that I picked out of it, but that's a whole other discussion. We'll get on that.
Yeah.
This movie did exactly what it tried to do. It set out to bring all these disparate characters and tones and ideas and styles together and make one cohesive giant thing out of it. It's almost like spaghetti and chocolate sauce, but somehow they just made it all work. Probably the paprika, but it's a triumph of filmmaking. It's just not one of my favorites because
I'm with you. I understand your opinion, but I don't agree with you. Obviously, you know I don't.
Right? Hey, man.
It didn't do what I wanted it to do, like with the Star Wars movie. It did. They failed there. I'm not leaving with all these questions in my head with those. Like when I saw Empire, that's how I left it. I'm like, oh my god, what the this movie did that. It's like, whoa, what? What about this character? What about this? What about that? Now it's got the anticipation is there for the next one. Okay, the anticipation is definitely there. You'll be there opening day to see the next one, I guarantee.
So, do you feel like this was a part one?
Huh?
Do you feel like this was a part one movie?
I think it was Empire. I do. I think it was the Empire of this.
Okay.
I think it's that middle point. It's the beginning of the end. You know what I mean? Or maybe even it is. It's what you want from what it's supposed to be. It's that movie just before the last call. Okay. It's that intense moment, and it's intense. You can't say it's not. The whole movie is very intense.
I wouldn't even dream of disagreeing with you there.
With so much comedy, it's very intense. It really is. Because at the end of it, you're
exhausting.
You're like, shit. I remember leaving there, and then I remember the end credits. I'm like, you got to see the end credits. Everybody's like, don't tell me anything. Like, just make sure. It's like, I kind of expected a little more because everybody else built me up. I kind of knew that was where they were going. I know the Captain Marvel movie's coming out. It wasn't like, oh shit, like Adam Warlock. When they showed that, I was like, oh. That's Adam. You know what I mean? That's just, you know what I'm saying? That's just the only thing. The only gripe is the post-credit. But I've been kind of pissed off with some of their post-credit scenes here lately anyway. Except for Guardians. Guardians nailed it. They had a lot of cool stuff at the end of their credits. For sure.
Yeah. Well, Tarzan, I think I'm ready to start wrapping this up. I don't know that I got much else to say. We've covered a lot of ground here. Is there anything you want to say? Last thoughts on this movie?
I'll just say it's a great movie, man. It really is. I'm very impressed at this point in time. It is still new in my system. That could be kind of why I'm rating it so high. I might slack off a little, especially after the next one next year. But I would definitely. It's going to break some records. There's no doubt about that. What else would I say about this movie as a whole? Definitely worth a second, third watch. If you know what I mean. Absolutely. Definitely. I want to go see it in the theater again. It's great on theater. It's great on the big screen. And you still want to kind of, because there's so many questions it's left with. It's like, can I pick any? That's just me. Kind of like you, with Game of Thrones. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, you go back and watch because you find more shit all the time. I'm wondering, I did find more stuff in my second watch. and I'm hoping maybe I'll find a little bit more on my third, but we'll see. But yeah, absolutely, man. Just a great job in this movie. It makes me excited talking about it. Where other movies, I'm not. I'm like, okay, I can do a review.
Right.
You know,
So you really feel like it's deep enough to warrant additional watches. That's good to know.
It's a great asset to this franchise, to this series. Absolutely, they delivered. That's all I can say. You got to agree they delivered. It may not be your favorite, but it did what it was supposed to do. I think.
My final thoughts are going to be something along the lines of it did exactly what it set out to do. They gave every character their moment at least a little bit. The characters that they lingered on more felt really true to the characters. Uh, it's probably the most ambitious storytelling I've ever seen on the big screen. I really did love this movie. I mean, again, people are gonna you can come at me for the way I'm splitting hairs over the definition of a movie, and I don't care. This is just my opinion. But I really think it was just about perfect for what they were trying to get at. Just about.
It did, yeah, it did. It left me with everything I wanted. It left me with the action, the comedy, the questions. It's all there. This is a good movie. Absolutely.
It did everything it set out to do.
Yeah, they nailed it. And more. And gave us a little more. You know what I mean? I think it did. Absolutely. It gave me more than what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll have to agree with you on that. Well, I guess my takeaway then is I really should go watch it again. But I think we'll wrap it up here. What do you say?
Yeah. Do you want to kind of talk about the future of me and you or no?
Yeah, we'll talk after.
Oh, no, I didn't know if you wanted to advertise that on here. That if you like our interaction, you could also catch us at the Con of Thrones. We'll actually do a panel and argue out some good shit. So I'll let you take it from there if you want to use that.
All right, I will. Thanks for reminding me of that. All right, so thanks everybody for showing up and listening to me and Tarzan talk about a movie we watched. It was a lot of fun for me to do. Memorial Day weekend is Con of Thrones here in Dallas. I live in the Dallas area. Tarzan's coming in for that, and we are on a panel together, remembering Ned Stark, where we will debate the decisions that Ned Stark made and whether or not he's really as honorable as everybody says he is. Come at me on that. But if you liked our conversation here, there'll be more of that at the con. We're also going to have Dal from at Because Geek there, and Chris from Smokescreen will be on that panel as well. Who are your partners in your podcast? So that'll be a lot of fun. Once again, thanks for joining us, Tarzan. You wanna tell everybody where you're from again, real quick?
Yeah. I'm going to plug a little bit if you don't mind. Definitely check out the Side Effect podcast. We got a great group. We're all getting a house down there in the Dallas area, so this is part 2 of all of us living together and hanging out and doing things together. So these people are not only people I work with; they're also very good friends of mine. And if you want to meet us all, we'll be down there. We're doing panels all over the freaking place. And for those of you who were Trial by Trivia fans, I am actually kind of the backbone here on making most of the questions for this. So I've saved some of my best stuff, and definitely check that out. So Friday night at the Con of Thrones, I'll be doing the trivia. It's going to be a 2-hour trivia competition, and we have got a lot of great prizes. So if you're in the area, man, you're down there in Dallas, you guys can make it. It's going to be a good time. So, yeah, you can meet all of us down there. Steven Stark, we'll all be down there. And most of us are pretty friendly. It kind of depends on what day you catch me on. But, yeah, definitely come check us out at the Con of Thrones.
Yeah, I'm very friendly unless I have not had my coffee in the morning. Pre-coffee, I've been described as a bear. Post-coffee, I'm pretty chill.
I'm pretty good. I don't mess with the public until I'm ready. They don't see me.
I promise I'll have my coffee before I arrive at the con.
Oh, definitely. It'd be a great time. A lot of great people. And hopefully a lot of us, I think we're going to do some video vlogging and all that stuff. So look for that as well. So, yeah, definitely, man. This was a great time. Thank you so much for having me. And
thanks for coming on.
Oh, yeah, dude. And an intelligent conversation. We always have these intelligent conversations. And, yeah, hopefully we'll do something again soon.
Yeah. So those intelligent conversations, I mean, that's why I'm like, why don't we just record them and put them on YouTube?
Right on. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, thanks again, Tarzan. And for whoever else, I'm going to do another one of these with about a different movie, something that's not a superhero thing, with another surprise guest. More on that coming. And thanks everybody for watching.